Welcome to GBS. Have you ever felt like there's never enough time to achieve your goals? In this video, we'll uncover the 7 habits that can transform your productivity and help you take control of your life. All from Stephen Covey's best-selling book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stay with me, and by the end, you'll know exactly how to implement these habits to see real results in your day-to-day life. As Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. Covey emphasizes that cultivating the right habits shapes the quality of our lives and eradicates anxieties about growth. So even if we weren't born with extraordinary talents, these habits offer a blueprint for achieving personal mastery. So, what are these 7 habits? Covey summarizes them with key phrases. 1. Be proactive. 2. Begin with the end in mind. 3. Put first things first. 4. Think win-win. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. 6. Synergize. 7. Sharpen the saw. But these habits aren't just 7 disconnected ideas. Covey categorizes them into 3 developmental stages, moving from dependence to independence, then to interdependence. Each stage contributes to our growth toward a mature and balanced character. In the sections ahead, we'll explore these habits in the context of Covey's 3-stage journey. 1. Transitioning from dependence to independence. 2. Evolving from independence to interdependence. 3. Cultivating lifelong growth and maturity through sustainability. Let's begin with the first stage, how to progress from dependence to independence. Most of us start life in a dependent stage, relying on others to fulfill our needs and achieve our goals. Dependence often manifests in thoughts like, "Others need to take care of me," or "My success depends on external circumstances." In contrast, independence is characterized by self-reliance, achieving our goals through our own efforts and decisions. The first step toward independence is adopting the mindset of proactivity. But what does it mean to be proactive? And how does it differ from being reactive? For Covey, the core difference lies in choice. Reactive people often feel like victims of circumstance, focusing on what's beyond their control. Proactive individuals, on the other hand, take ownership of their choices, focusing their energy on what they can influence. Covey illustrates this concept with a powerful tool, the circle of influence versus the circle of concern. Imagine 2 concentric circles. The circle of concern includes all the things you care about, from global events to personal challenges. And the circle of influence contains only those aspects you can directly impact. Proactive individuals concentrate their efforts within the circle of influence, gradually expanding it through consistent, intentional action. Reactive individuals, however, waste energy fretting over elements in the circle of concern that they can't control, ultimately shrinking their capacity to affect change. To illustrate this mindset, Covey shares the story of a man disillusioned with his marriage. When the man complained about losing love for his wife, Covey simply advised, "Then love her." Confused, the man asked, "But how can I love her when the feeling is gone?" Covey replied, "Love is a verb, not a feeling. Choose to love her through your actions. Appreciate, affirm, and care for her. The feeling will follow." This story highlights a fundamental truth. Our power lies in our choices, not our circumstances. Whether we're pursuing a career, navigating relationships, or deciding our future, embracing proactivity means taking full ownership of our path. Next, let's think about how to take action. Covey suggests that everything we create happens twice, once in our minds and then in reality. This idea is easy to grasp. Consider building a skyscraper. You don't just start laying bricks. You first imagine it, then draft blueprints before construction begins. Life works the same way. Our upbringing, environment, education, and other external factors represent the first creation of our lives. This creation might be messy or less than ideal, but it doesn't define us. The real question is, will we simply drift along with this initial blueprint, or will we actively design a second creation that reflects our aspirations? If you choose to rewrite your life script, you'll likely aim for a fulfilling conclusion. But achieving that requires preparation and foresight, what Covey calls the second habit of begin with the end in mind. It's about clearly defining your destination before taking steps toward it. This mindset acts like a lighthouse, helping us align our every action with the right direction. But having a lighthouse isn't enough. If we want to sail faster and more effectively, we need the third habit: put first things first. Covey illustrates this habit with a memorable classroom exercise. He placed sand, small pebbles, and large rocks on a table, asking a participant to fit everything into a bucket. She began by pouring in the sand and pebbles, only to find there wasn't enough space for the large rocks. Covey then demonstrated the opposite approach. Start with the big rocks, then add pebbles, and finally fill the remaining gaps with sand. Everything fit perfectly. This experiment serves as a metaphor for life. The big rocks represent your most important tasks and values, things that truly matter. When you prioritize these first, everything else naturally falls into place. Conversely, focusing on smaller, less meaningful tasks often leaves no room for what's truly important. A real-life example of this principle is Apple's Steve Jobs. For a time, Jobs lived in an almost empty house with no furniture. Why? Because he was laser-focused on one big rock: developing groundbreaking products. His unwavering commitment to prioritizing what mattered most became a hallmark of his success. So how can we identify our own big rocks? Covey recommends using his time management matrix, which categorizes tasks along two dimensions: urgency and importance. These dimensions form 4 quadrants. 1. Important and urgent, tasks that must be completed immediately, like crises or pressing deadlines. 2. Important but not urgent, activities like building relationships, planning long-term goals, or self-care. 3. Urgent but not important, tasks that demand attention but don't contribute meaningfully to your goals. 4. Neither important nor urgent, activities like mindless scrolling, gaming, or watching excessive TV. Highly effective people focus their energy on the second quadrant: important but not urgent. This proactive investment reduces crises, first quadrant, and avoids wasting time on unimportant tasks, third and fourth quadrants. As Peter Drucker once said, effective people don't solve problems, they pursue opportunities. Their minds are preoccupied not with reacting, but with strategizing. Now that we've explored the first stage of personal growth, moving from dependence to independence, let's recap. To achieve independence, we need 3 core habits. 1. Be proactive. Take ownership of your choices regardless of circumstances. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Define your goals and rewrite your life's script. 3. Put first things first. Prioritize what truly matters. These habits allow us to shift from passive reactions to purposeful action. However, independence is just the beginning. True success requires evolving beyond independence to interdependence, working with others to achieve mutual goals. There's an interesting story about a couple going through a divorce. The court ordered the husband to split the proceeds of their assets equally with his wife. To get back at her, he sold a $10,000 car for $50 and gave her $25. When the wife protested, the court found that the husband had sold off all their possessions at ridiculously low prices, purely out of spite. This situation highlights the importance of a mutual benefit model in relationships, or what Covey calls the habit of think win-win. People with a win-win mindset focus on creating outcomes that benefit both sides. They prioritize collaboration and fairness while staying true to their principles. However, life doesn't always work out perfectly. Sometimes it's impossible to reach a mutual agreement. In these cases, Covey suggests that it's better to part ways amicably, a mindset reflected in the saying, "It's not business, it's personal." Walking away respectfully not only saves time and energy but also preserves trust, which can be valuable for future interactions. Think of it as a positive balance in your emotional bank account that you can draw on later. The win-win habit is like the principal balance in a bank account. To maintain a healthy emotional account, we also need to make consistent deposits. That brings us to the 5th habit: seek first to understand, then to be understood. At its core, this habit is about empathetic communication. Covey uses humor to illustrate its importance. In one example, a patient visits an eye doctor complaining of vision problems. Without asking questions, the doctor hands over his own glasses and says, "Here, I've used these for 10 years. They work great for me." Naturally, the patient can't see a thing and leaves in frustration. The doctor, however, feels unappreciated, thinking, "I tried to help, but they didn't value my effort." This story underscores why understanding is crucial. Would you trust a doctor who prescribes solutions without diagnosing your problem? Similarly, in our interactions, how often do we jump to conclusions or offer unsolicited advice without first listening? Imagine a father hearing his son complain that school is boring. Instead of exploring the issue, the father responds, "I used to feel the same way, but now I realize education is important." The son sighs, feeling misunderstood. A better response might start with empathy. "It sounds like you're frustrated. Can you tell me more?" The son might then explain, "We took a reading test yesterday, and I only scored at a 6th grade level, even though I'm in high school." By listening deeply, the father uncovers the real issue and can respond with support. That's tough. Let's figure out a way to improve your skills together. True understanding begins with stepping into the other person's shoes and acknowledging their emotions. Once we've mastered understanding others, we can move on to expressing ourselves, what Covey calls understanding yourself. Self-awareness is about identifying your core values and aligning your life with them. This clarity provides a compass for making decisions in relationships and resolving conflicts. Let's look at an example. Imagine a husband who has planned a movie night with his wife. At the last minute, his boss asks him to stay late for work. What does he do? If he values family above all, he might decline the overtime to avoid disappointing his wife. If financial security is his top priority, he might take the overtime pay, assuming his wife will understand. If career advancement matters most, he'll view the extra work as an opportunity to shine. This illustrates how our core values shape our choices. Covey suggests defining these values through role-based principles. For instance, as a spouse, you might declare, "I'll always prioritize my partner's happiness." As a parent, you could aim to help my children find joy in life. As a leader, you might strive to inspire my team to reach their full potential. Writing these principles helps clarify your priorities and strengthens your relationships. The next habit, Synergize, takes these principles to the next level. It's about combining efforts and ideas to achieve results greater than what any individual could accomplish alone. As British Prime Minister Winston Churchill once said, "I have been preparing my whole life for this moment." Similarly, the 5 habits we've discussed so far set the stage for true synergy. In nature, synergy is everywhere. Plant 2 different species close together and their roots intertwine, enriching the soil and allowing both to thrive. In relationships, synergy is like a deeper form of win-win. It creates outcomes where 1 + 1 = 3 or even more. Communication can occur on 3 levels. 1. Defensive. Both sides are guarded, resulting in lose-lose outcomes. 2. Respectful, polite but limited, achieving neutral outcomes. 3. Synergistic, open and creative, yielding extraordinary results. Covey illustrates this with a family scenario. A father plans a vacation, but his wife wants to visit her ailing mother. Neither can persuade the other. If the family goes on vacation, the wife will worry about her mother. If they visit the mother, the father feels his hard work preparing for the trip was wasted. The solution? Combine the ideas. Take a vacation near the mother's home, or hire a service to help care for her so the wife can join the trip later. Synergy thrives when we respect differences, embrace creativity, and look for solutions that go beyond compromise. It's about finding that third option where everyone wins. So far, we've discussed how the habits of think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, and synergize elevate us from independence to interdependence. Next, we'll explore the final habit, sharpen the saw, which ensures we can sustain and refine these practices over time. At the core of this habit is the realization that we as individuals are the operators of these habits. To use the previous 6 effectively, we must constantly grow and refine ourselves. Covey breaks self-renewal into 3 actionable dimensions. The first dimension focuses on the physical self. This means taking care of your body through healthy eating, sufficient rest, and regular exercise. The second dimension is spiritual renewal. Covey encourages us to connect with art, music, and literature, spend time in nature, and find moments for solitude and reflection. The third dimension is intellectual growth. This involves continuously expanding your knowledge through reading, writing, attending courses, and applying your intellect in meaningful ways. With these three dimensions in mind, we've now completed our walkthrough of the 7 habits. In essence, the 7 habits are more than just practical strategies. They represent a cohesive philosophy for personal growth and effective relationships. They guide us through the stages of dependence, independence, and interdependence, helping us achieve maturity and balance. And that concludes our deep dive into the 7 habits of highly effective people. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe. Join me to explore 100 great books in 1 year.